Good morning. I'm happy to be here today. I think there will be some overlap with the previous presentation because we're all talking about big data, right? But there are some differences. I will share with you what you can do with big data and even little data. So before I got started, I'm really happy to be here today. Be here for three reasons. Actually, I was speaking at the ETEL conference last week in California. And I started the presentation saying, I'm really happy to be here. And people were like, why? I say, the weather. I'm far away from Montreal. It's freezing there, and you guys have like 60 degrees. So I'm happy to be here today, not because of the weather, because it's the big data conference, the first one here in Canada. So being proud of that event. And also, the second thing why I'm really proud to be here is I want to share with you my personal story in analytics. The personal story that led to the writing of the book here, Win with Advanced Business Analytics. I don't know if I think some of you heard about that. And that is now bestseller on Amazon.com on information management. The third reason that I'm happy to be here is also to give you some highlight from the book. So before we get started, I'm a statistician by training, so I'm going to do a very quick survey. And how many of you heard about Monster? Raise your hand. Good. How many of you have their resume on monster.com? Oh, okay. And how many of you visited Monster site over the last 3 months? Whoa, good. So we have a lot of work to do to make sure you're active on the site. The brand awareness seems like great. A lot of people heard about Monster, but it seems like marketing folks, they have a lot to do. So actually, the reason why I'm doing that survey because through the presentation, I want to make sure I spend a lot of time or not on Monster. Today, I have 29 slides. And I know it's early in the morning. You guys need more coffee. That's a lot. But the good news is I need you guys to keep only five of them. And I will remind you what slides are important. Deal? Perfect. So this is what we have in the agenda today. Give you a quick background about Monster. That's why I asked the question. And then we talk about big data and advanced business analytics. And then we also talk about the solution that we're able to use at Monster globally to leverage big data and advanced business analytics, provide you with some highlight from the book. So, Monster, background. Monster pioneered the online recruitment. Monster was the first job site in the world, the pioneer online recruitment. The 454 .com company. Just imagine how many .com company we have today. Hundreds of millions. So Monster back in 94 were there first. So this is Monster back in time. And you can see a little logo here. The Monster is still there. We kind of changed it. But this is how the site was looking back in 1996. And what's happened? This is the site now. Before and after. Extreme makeover, huh? So with that evolution, Monster was not only focusing on US and Canada, we expanded in more than 44 countries to make sure that we can leverage learning from North America and other countries and conquer new market. And Monster also moved from being a job site to more like a way to connect people to job opportunities. And as you guys know, our business model is to connect people from the left-hand side, job seeker, people looking for a job, and from the right-hand side, employers. And the dream is for everyone is to get the best job, so the best place to work. And for employers, to hire a best talent. So we do that through a variety of channels. We partnership with newspaper here. In U.S., more than 1,000 newspaper, leveraging Facebook with a Binon application that we develop, and mobile apps, because a lot of transaction, a lot of behavior happening through the mobile. And really a good things here that I want to bring your attention on is the CMO, is our innovation technology that helps employers to find resume based upon their own criteria. It's not keyword search. The innovation here is semantic, meaning it's based upon the context and concept and also provide business intelligence. What that means, you're looking for someone, let's say a data scientist who went to York University and worked 3 years for KPMG and lives in Toronto. In less than 1 minute, the technology helps you to process 145 million resumes to find those candidates that meet your criteria and provide you with a ranking on each of them. Because imagine if you are a hiring manager going through all resume or application that you receive. This really saves a lot of time to our customer. And the good news is we said everything is moving cloud, and we don't want to limit our customers or prospect to using Monster. So this technology could be used to any resume database. That was really the great innovation for Monster. So same here. Those are the technology I mentioned. I don't want to spend a lot of time there from the heart of our innovation. So our goal is to really inspire people to improve their life. How we do that? Employers, as I said, looking for the best talent. And seekers finding great place to work. Now, let's move to the topic. Big data. So you heard before the presentation, big data is a buzzword. When we're writing the book, the publisher said, JP, I don't want a big data on your title. I already have 20 books with big data. So it's a buzzword, but it's also worth some attention, special attention, because we can't afford big data. It's there to stay, and it's there to grow, if you're growing. But the most important differentiator is what you do with big or little data. Big data is the first step, but what you do is key. So, trying to define big data, I asked myself a question. Before giving a definition is, why big data? 3 reasons came in mind. Number one, we're talking about big data today because of the cost of storage. Just imagine the entire music in the world. You can have that on a disk drive that's worth $600. Entire music in the world, all songs, $600. So the capacity to store the data has become more and more affordable. The next reason is the increase of interactive application and website. Everything that we do, whether it's a cell phone, our mobile used to be for text and talk. Now, smartphone, chat, search, GPS, sensors. All that information is captured. Before we were saying, no, we cannot afford capturing that. We're capturing that. That's why data is becoming big. And it's also economically feasible to manage multiple data sets with Hadoop, MapReduce. So all those new technology help us to move to what we're calling now big data. This is the why. And then the next one here is, what is big data? Hundreds of definitions. And what I was trying to do here, I say, now we know that data is coming from multiple sources. We have call center we have transactional, we have web behavior. And then from other side, we have data from credit bureau. When you want to buy a cell phone, they will ask you, some information to Equifax and TransUnion, making sure that you will be able to pay. That data is stored, and also it's provided to the cell phone Roger Bells and all those service providers. You go to the gym, you can record your workout. If you're running every day 5 miles, you can keep that information, link that to your physician if you want, and also being able to track your progress based upon your final goal on a yearly or monthly basis. And then we have data from GPS, car telematic, and also all sensors that helps people in construction and truck industry to optimize delivery. And then we have a big chunk of data coming from social media. That is where the big data mostly coming from, because it's unstructured. You can post whatever you want, wherever you want, 24/7. And why is it becoming big? Because we are connecting every piece of that data, moving everything together to make sure we can have a 360-degree view. So when we move everything together, we ended up with the big data. And big data is usually defined with the 3 V's. As you heard before, reminding the variety, data that was coming from different sources, the volume, how big is the data, and the velocity, how fast the data is coming in. Just imagine when you have a global company, the data is not stopped, it's 24/7. Walmart, even Monster, 24/7, the data is just putting in. Variety, volume, and velocity. So, and then I try and put some word on big data. The first definition was, big data was this one. Big data is a term that is used to define the exponential growth of structured and unstructured information. This is one definition. It's about exponential growth. It's big and big and bigger. And then that definition was good. And the next one that's really related to what we do, doing something with big data that we couldn't do before, is this definition here. It's defined, once again, the exponential growth, but everything that we can do to store, process, and manage the data that we didn't do before, leveraging the velocity, the variety, and the volume. Just to give you some perspective, last week when I was in California, I was talking to the guy from eBay. And he told me, he said, JP, big data, eBay is a data-driven company. We live 24 hours with big data. Every single day, eBay processes 100 petabytes of data. Every single day. Every single day, they have 50 terabytes of new data. And their goal is to leverage that information. And he told me when we have to decide about our business objective, is not marketing and finance, and everyone sit in the same room because they're a data-driven company. So, moving to give some perspective, and I was trying to explain how big the data, how big was the data last year, how big the data grow. So to give you some perspective, this is how the big data grow. So we look at moving from Miami, we try to build a big wall from Miami to Alaska. So imagine you have your iPad, 32 gigabyte, and you're trying to build that wall. This is how big the data grew in 2012. So you put this data into a big wall of 61 feet high and 4,000 miles long. And then fill that with iPad 32 gig. This is how big the data in 2012. This is from Gartner. It's grew by 48%. So let's look at Monster. In case of Monster, because I'm talking about Monster today, every single minute. And Monster we have 44 job searches, meaning people looking for jobs every single minute. Every single minute we have 25 jobs that are viewed. Those people looking at, okay, is it a good job for me? And then every single minute, most important one is here, 22 new resumes. Just imagine this is happening every single minute, every single hour, every single day, every single week, and every single month. That's the volume of data is just exploding. And we have to track everything that people are doing on the site. So in our case, we really make sure that we have that big data, and also we are present in internet. So this just gives you some perspective of how big is the data. The next one here is really data comes with challenges and opportunity. Data will grow by 800% within the next 5 years. And 80% is unstructured. And then we have 1.5 labor shortage, 1.5 million labor shortage in data manager. In the US alone, 1.5 million. And so challenges and opportunity for big data are common. Increase customer retention, acquire new business, and increase profitability and manage competition. Those are very familiar challenges to you. So now the solution for big data is this one here. It's all start by the business question. What is the business question or business goal? The next thing that you do is integrate external and internal data. And ultimately, if you're like Paul, the octopus, that during the World Cup in South Africa was able to predict 100% what country will win the game, it's the ultimate goal that you have to achieve, prediction, what's happening in the future. And then the next step here is action. You have to do something with that. So you have business action with marketing, sales, and product. Make sure that the prediction is leading to action. And more importantly, you have to measure. So this is how we define advanced business analytic. It starts with business goal, integrate data, make prediction, action, and measure. Always measure, because there's no room for intellectual curiosity. They will ask you what was the value. So this is how I define advanced business analytic. So we're going to speed up a little bit, just running out of time. This is what I would like our Monster reps to do, making sure that they can leverage the data and analytic to drive the business. And if the competition is not doing that, they will fail. First slide to keep in mind, here is we come. The business analytic framework. This is something that I was able to use for years, not only with Monster, and that led with the writing of the book. Here, the first thing that we do with that is business challenge. The next thing is to understand the business challenge, you have analytic vision. You need a vision to analyze your data. And the next thing that we do is really to make sure that we build up a data foundation. This is the third pillar. The data foundation is key. It's like building a house. If the house is not solid, the foundation is not solid, the house won't stay. Insight, every type of analytic, predictive, descriptive, and prescriptive. Distribution of the knowledge is important. When you have that insight, you have to distribute that knowledge to marketing, sales, and product. And then you measure and innovation. Always innovate. And there's an article that I can share with you that I wrote in the Journal of American Management Association and on innovation and analytic, how you can leverage, how you can stock innovation leveraging analytic. So this is number one to keep in mind. So I really focus on the insight because, as I told you before, it's about transforming the data into actionable intelligence. And it's what we've seen before. We have data coming from multiple sources, and then we mix everything together. We have that big data, and we're trying to do something with that. Analytic help us to answer three questions. Number one, what's happened in the past? Number two, what is happening now and why this is happening? And number 3 is what will happen in the future. Remember Paul the octopus. And with what happened in the past, we can do that through dashboard, KPIs, and cubes. And what is happening now? Variety of analytics, segmentation, predictive, voice of customer, text analytic. And what will happen in the future? Optimization, predictive model, and forecasting. And when we have all those 3 questions that Analytic try to answer, we have information from the past, we have knowledge from what is happening now and why, and then we have intelligence. And when we mix everything, we have actionable insight. Number 2 slide to keep in mind, very important, transforming data into actionable intelligence. So this slide here, third, I'm giving them to you, the third slide in a row. This one is very personal, it's very important. This is the slide that really helped me to build up the business intelligence team at Monster. So when I was hired back in 2005, the goal was to build up the business intelligence at Monster. And my daughter, Roxanne, who is now 8.5 years old, was born. So I was able to see the parallel between my work at Monster and also how my baby was growing up. The first thing when you have a baby is like, she's screaming, she's alive. Wow, exciting. A couple of months later, she was sitting up alone. Wow, the little baby is sitting up. And then she started crawling. We enjoy that moment. Wow, she's crawling, come on, throwing toys. And then all of a sudden, she was holding up, walking. And I remember back in January, when it was cold, and she was holding the table, and all of a sudden, leave off the table. She was walking. My girlfriend and I, we enjoyed that. Wow, she's walking. And now guess what? Daddy, let's go. Ice skating. We enjoy every single step. And I was able to do the same thing at my work at Monster. First thing I was able to do is the data, the foundation. Making sure that we have the foundation. How many number of customers we have. Building that foundation. I asked that question, how many number of customers we have, to 4 different people. And guess what? I got 4 different answers. Good answers. And the next one is dashboard. When you have that knowledge of number of customers, the foundation, you can ask questions about what's happening. And then when you have those, what happened in the past, you can move to the next one is measurement and innovation. Innovation simply defined as what you can add or subtract to existing product or service to improve it. So I'm going to speed up again. Here, 30 minutes trying to summarize everything is a kind of a challenge, but we'll be able to get there. The implementation model. About the implementation model, a very quick story share with you is the U.S. election. It was about big data. And one of the reasons that why Mitt Romney, we know that there was thousands of reasons, but the data played a big role. Mitt Romney was able to come up, Mitt Romney team, with Orca. Orca was a web application that was able to help them with the turnout. 30,000 volunteer web application available on smartphone, helping them go to that area. There's a low turnout, and other area make robocall and so forth. But what happened? They lacked on implementation. The only training that people had was the eve of election night. 10 p.m. conference call, 2 hours. And after the conference call, there was a user guide, 50 pages, November 5th. And you have to put that in application the 6th. Day of election, what happened? They sent the wrong login information to 30,000 volunteers. So they were trying, their logins, fail. Comcast, the internet distributor, saying a lot of failed login shut down the system for 90 minutes. Just imagine. And all of a sudden, it's gone. They stop using it. So implementation, whether you can come up with great idea, implementation is key. So these are the number of projects that fail in analytics, in corporate business, 70 to 80%. That's huge. That's fail. And so I'm going to go fast. This is what we really use to explain what my team does. Business question on the left, and then business challenges on the right. The next thing that I want to share with you here is really how we've been able globally to leverage advanced business analytics. We're talking about big data. This is how we do that. The goal was to score and segment the company, 20 million company in the US and Canada, and make sure that we can provide sales and marketing with valuable prospect and customer to target. How we do that? Leverage big data. Firmographic data, macroeconomic data, transactional data, secure and offline data. This is how it's big. Integrate that data, run through predictive model, end up with segment, score everyone, and we make sure that marketing and folks and sales team, they can leverage it. This is the fourth slide to keep in mind is here, this magic grid. You can look at your customer on two segments. It's something very important that you can use or you're already using. X-axis is the conversion rate, and Y-axis is the customer lifetime value. If you were a marketing manager or sales manager, where would you start focusing on? What segment? X-axis is conversion. They are more likely to convert, and they have high lifetime value. Yeah, 9, exactly. We start there, 9. And then you move to the next one here, and then you can focus on the lower segment, not spending a lot of time there. You can do the same thing for your customer. But for customer, it's churn on the X-axis. On the Y-axis, you have your lifetime value. So you start again with number 9, 7, 8, 9. So we're able to do that not only in Canada, but globally. We start in Canada, we're successful, and then we move to US, we move to a different market. And the question is, what was the ROI? You know, this is the money talks. So we were able to increase by 15% the retention rate, and by 27% the wallet share growth of our customer, and increase the sales productivity by 40%, because before they were not using that. 15% retention rate for a company like Monster Worldwide, close to $1 billion revenue, it's huge. So, now, the implementation, as I mentioned, we started with Canada. We're successful. See, try US. We try it. It's good. Gave us North American coverage. And then we moved to Europe. We did the same thing. And Asia Pac, and that gave us the worldwide coverage. So the next thing here, and I said I will remind you, the slide to keep in mind are those slides here. The foundation, the framework that I believe you guys will find very useful. And insight. It's not only about data, big or little data. It's about how you can transform data into actionable intelligence, into action, that the business is using it and creating some value. And then we talk about the baby steps approach, because don't want to prediction, don't want to social media analytic. Make sure that even if you have your little data, you understand that. You can create little value. Baby steps approach, count. And then how to integrate that, and the magic grid here is about how you segment your customers. So with that in mind, this is key. As I mentioned, this is key, is the framework that you can really keep in mind, bold for the book. And ending up with the book that, as I said, has been very successful because it's based upon our own experience, Jesse Harriott and myself, but also not really technical book. It's a book that everyone can read. My wife read the book. Jesse's wife read the book. They're not analytical at all. And the book is for managers, CMO, business school, and anyone really looking for creating value with analytic, with big data. So good news, the book is doing very well, information management on Amazon.com, bestseller. So that's good. If you can get a copy, that would be great for you. Otherwise, my information is here for questions. You can go on the website for the book. Send me an email if you have any analytic question. Whether if you didn't buy the book, I'll be more than happy, because it's the only way that we can address new challenges. Because if you don't have question, you don't know, you're not aware that those challenges exist. So once again, this is what I have to share with you today. And has been a challenge to pack everything in 30 minutes, but I think we managed to do that. So I'm happy to take a couple of questions. Thank you for your time.